Hold me closer, tiny dancer. Hold me closer, Tony Danza. Right, good evening everybody, hope you're doing very, very well. It's actually evening when I'm filming this. Bit of a video that's probably hotly anticipated, and that is KTM rides 1300 GSA. Before we go anywhere, if you are someone that lives by the Roadcraft manual or something along those lines, probably not the video for you. So if you're wanting to talk about road positioning and using only 6th gear, probably not the video for you. So caveat out the way, because this is a 1300 GSA in triple black, which is the key part, I've decided to bring her home. I haven't had a Starbucks, but it looks very at home here, doesn't it? Funny. It's nearly 5 o'clock, so the sun is well on its way down because it's February. But I've been out on this bike for probably about an hour and a half now. I've got a good understanding of what I think of it, and it's kind of exactly what I thought I was going to think of it, if that makes sense. I've got Mike with me on his bike. I got this bike from Wollaston BMW in Northampton, which I am not a Northampton resident, whereas Mike here is closer to Northampton, so he knows some of the nicer roads to do. Code in the description and down below for 10% off. Isn't that right, Mike? Yeah, you're welcome. So I'll quickly run around the bike, show you what I think of it, and then we'll get on the road and I'll tell you what it's like to ride. Obviously, you've probably all seen 1,000 videos on this already, but I'm a KTM knob and this is not a KTM. To be fair, I wouldn't put this in the same category as the Super Adventure or the Multistrada, that kind of thing. This is very much a Triumph Tiger 1200 type competitor, in my eyes anyway. The KTM, the Multistrada and the S1000/M1000 XR are more of a close competitor. This for me is more of a touring bike than a knob kind of overpowered supermoto type thing. So first of all, looks. Now when this bike came out, I detested the thing. Really didn't like it. I thought, what the sweet baby Jesus have they done to that thing? But, and a big but, and I cannot lie, I really like saying that recently. Yeah, I do quite like it. There's parts of it I don't like that look a little bit plasticky. It does sound so good. So there's parts of it that look really plasticky and then parts of it that look really nice. Like this is like a painted, brushed aluminium finish. I don't know if you can see that. It's almost like a brushed alley tank that's been clear coated, and it just looks really nice. There's certain elements of this that are just a bit more bougier and they feel a bit more premium. This paint here looks really nice. Obviously the handlebars look really nice. All of this looks really nice. Even down to the mirrors, they're like slightly tinted. When you're riding along and you've got like reflection of the sun behind you, this is not glaring, which is lovely. Obviously it's got the electric screen. This is the normal version, it's not the ASA, so it's the normal manual. It's got the gold wheels, triple black as I already mentioned. It's got the heated seats, it's got the heat grips, the radar cruise, the blind spot detection, all that sort of gubbins. It is very Lego-y and very, how do I put it, it's very blocky and it is enormous. Like it's like if I stand behind you, it's wider than your mum. Sorry, couldn't help. These little things here, like the little, like, I mean, you're not really going to use that for literally anything, are you? Because you can't really clamp something on. Maybe the tank bag from BMW fits onto that, I don't know. But you're probably not going to use it. But it just looks quite cool, it looks purposeful. And then just everything looks quite premium, quite well done, besides the plasticky crap bits here. I'm sure I read somewhere that this lifts itself up when you put it on the centre stand. Oh, Jesus. So it's quite low now. This is standard seat height. That's quite cool. Can you see that? Let me see if I can do this a better way. That's probably a really bad angle, but you have to deal with it. So I bring the bike off the centre stand, and then as soon as I push that down, see it raises the back up? The electronic suspension raises the rear, so it's then much easier to get on the centre stand. That's a cool feature, very well thought through, especially for the 75-year-old blokes that buy these things. As you'd expect at nearly 300,000 kilos that this thing weighs, it is a weighty thing. Once you've got the balance moving it around, it's actually not bad to move around. Look, if I'll show you what I mean. I'm not putting a huge amount of weight through that. That is just moving very easily. Looks-wise, you're not sold on it, are you? No, Mike doesn't like it. The one thing you do like about it is the comfort. You sit on it and it just feels bougie AF. Actually, Mike, how tall are you? About 5'8". Do you know what your inside legs is? 30 inside leg. This would be a good test. This is a standard seat height. Mike is 5'8", 30-ish inseam. Both feet almost flat on the ground. Start it up. This has got the Krapovich cans on it. They're very much dealer Acura cans. Just, yeah. I mean, it sounds alright. It's just, it sounds very ticky and a little bit whiny as well. Yeah, it's very tappety. I still don't like that people are, BMW or any brand are doing that. I think KTM are doing it. When you indicate and you've got your brake lights on, you can barely see that indicator. Bike things sell those indicators which turn them off, which is way better. The other thing I quite like is it's got this, which is a phone port. This is a Samsung S24 Ultra. It doesn't quite fit in there. Yeah, I don't want to risk that. More importantly than a phone, the other thing that's really annoying about this is, look, you can't even fit your roadcraft manual in there. Look, it just doesn't go in any way. So, sort of a bit pointless. Like, how have they not thought of this? IAM joke and Starbucks joke out the way. Let's get on the bike. Let's get on the road. On we get. Just weighty old thing to pick up. The side stand is a mile away, and then when it's up, you've got to try and get between the gear shift and the peg to get that side stand down. Really minor thing, I'm well aware, but it still is. It is what it is. I'm going to be #Ewan McGregor and go off the curb like this. I've got this in dynamic mode, dynamic suspension. I want this to basically be as close to how I ride my bike as possible. If you don't already know, I've got 2021 KTM Super Adventure S, and that thing is my baby. I love that thing. The thing that I am impressed with substantially on this bike so far, it's got like a stupid amount of power. Not stupid, but like it has got way more than you're ever going to need. Let me slow down a bit. Yeah, see what I mean with the tinted mirrors? Just a really nice little touch. 40 mile an hour. Second gear, I'm at one hand around this relatively tight corner. It's as balanced as any other GS would be. It's so comfortable. I feel really like cocooned in this sort of area. It does what you want it to. It's not fighting you in any way. The only time it does fight you is when you try and do this. When you start riding like a bit of a twat, it reminds you that you're riding like a twat. It's a bit bargy. If you're accelerating, braking, to dive into a corner, it gets unsettled quite quickly. I have a feeling that's more to do with the fact that this thing weighs the same as Bristol than anything else. The suspension's clearly very good, it's very compliant, I'm very comfortable on the bike. I really hate these additions to the crash bars in terms of filtering, but that is lovely. It just supports your leg really nicely, and it's gently heated from the engine from the back. 15 mile an hour. So that was definitely legal speed limits. It sods off. The thing with a GS is you go down a windy little B road, I can guarantee you are faster than most other adventure bikes, because it just smooths everything out. It is so relaxed, so smooth, so like compliant. I just throw it into a corner, I just change direction halfway through a corner. It is completely fine. The difference being for me and what I want from a bike is I want to feel like I'm riding the bike, not that the bike is riding me. That sounds really weird. I've never denied that a GS is a phenomenal bit of kit, but it's not exciting enough for me. and I think that it's never been exciting enough for me. You have to really push it. The 1300 range is much better, like much better. It's got stupid amounts of power, like more than enough. You'll never need more than this on the road. Wah wah wah. If I accelerated that hard on my KTM, it would be like squirming around underneath me, and it feels like I'm doing twice the speed I am on the KTM, which means that you're not actually doing ridiculous speed. Obviously the KTM will walk away from this when you're properly going for it, because it's got more power, it's got the slightly higher CCs, like the capacity, so it will eventually walk away from this. But getting the power down, this does it really smoothly and really easily. Regular viewers of the channel will know, if I'm doing this exact ride on my KTM, I'd be giggling and all sorts of stuff. Emma rode my bike, my girlfriend rode my bike the other week, the KTM, and she was giggling within like 20 minutes of riding it, and she doesn't do that. And I've been on this bike for how long now? Like 2 hours or whatever it's been, and like I'm pinning it now, and I'm like really, like the emotion is not really there. I'm very nonchalant about it. It's not lighting a fire under me and making me smile kind of thing. That's the sort of difference, I guess. But if you told me to ride down to the south of France, 2 up, with luggage and all sorts of stuff, would I rather take this or my KTM? I'd take this, because it's a better bike for that. It's more premium, it feels bougie, as it were. Like, I mean, it's got a ridiculous tank range, I assume, unless you're riding like me. The heated seat and the heated grips, they're dormant volcanoes waiting for you to turn them on. Not like that. From that respect, it's going to be a better bike. What I like from an adventure bike, though, is that I like the bike, and this is why I love the KTM, because the KTM for me is 90% of what this does. Jesus, without needing a spinal readjustment every time you change gear. But when you get there and you dump all of your stuff at the hotel, you go and ride it in I've said this a million times, but you can go and ride it in those mountains like it's an oversized Super G. It's so addictive. So I think with this, you could probably add a few bits to it to make it a bit more cock factor. Like, I think Teapot is currently in the process of adding decat headers to his, an exhaust, remap through BHP UK, those kinds of things, and it will definitely liven it up a bit. It's never going to be that level of excitement that you get from a KTM or a Ducati Multistrada, M1000 XR, those kinds of things. If you're not after that, it is a really nice bike. It's got a shed load of go in it. That gear change, oh my god, stop it! Most people say when I kick off about the gear changes on the GS, they've been developing GSs for years, like literally decades. And second gear, 4,500 RPM, is so aggressive. Like, downshift is completely fine. That was fine. Why is there that much of a difference between 4,000 RPM and 4,500 RPM? I don't know. You do feel like you're trying to force it into gear. Your customer due diligence report has now been generated. Thank you, Wollaston BMW. It's quite warm, but like I don't know whether it's just like, yeah, literally like riding a car. I do feel like I should have aircon on it. We're going to turn around and go back the other way, so you might get a bit more of my face because the sun is setting that way. Cheers, Mike. Now I've got to try and push this thing uphill. Oh my god, keep momentum. It's quite nice that I can get both feet almost flat on the deck. It has got the semi-active suspenders. It's very much a GS. Oh, should I stand up and be hashtag Ewan McGregor again? Little wheelie off there. Definitely not a wheelie. It is a bit, no, thank you. It is a bit wallowy, but that's probably down to the weight of it. It is, apparently it's 10 kilos lighter than the old model. It's still like the best part of 270 kilos. Let's enjoy. Bye bye. Oh god, even the gear changes at high speed or higher speed are still aggressive. That's probably my only negative. But I mean, look at this. I'm doing definitely legal speeds in a corner, one-handed, and I feel completely fine. And you just put it where you want it, and it stays there. And then you get a hernia from a gear change. The one thing that actually bugs me about this, but this is a very, very minor thing, very, very minor, because someone's going to go, yeah, well, you don't really need that, but no backlit switchgear. Still, you can put technology in so it lifts the back of the bike up when your centre stand touches the floor, but at the same time, you can't just put some LEDs behind the switchgear. If the switchgear was really simple, fine. Even now I look at this and there's still a lot of buttons on there. It's just a really simple thing. Why don't they do it? Comparing it to the Tiger, this feels more premium. It feels more bougie. I'd argue the Tiger feels faster. It's got a little bit more of an event to riding it, whereas this is very neutered. I'm surprised how much I like it, I will be honest. In general though, the suspension has been really, really good. Really, really nice. It's super comfy. And I'm in dynamic mode. Dynamic suspension, dynamic mode. I rode this in road mode first, and the quick shifter is a little bit better. Not a lot better. I guess you would learn where to change gear rev-wise to make it as smooth as possible, but whether I'm 4,000 RPM, 7,000 RPM, 9,000 RPM, it doesn't seem to make much difference. It is just aggressive. I'd like backlit switchgear, very, very minor thing, but it should be backlit. For this kind of money, KTM 890s have got backlit switchgear, you know what I mean? Like, that bike is 10, 11 grand cheaper than this. I'm pretty sure the new CF Moto MTs have got backlit switchgear, and they're 7 grand. Why not? I don't know whether I'd want it, but maybe an option would be if you could get the bigger TFT that you can get on the RT. I'm sure the K1600 TFT is the same, but if you could get that bigger one with the big, like the nice big map on it and stuff like that, that would be quite nice. I hate these cradle things. I think they look really tacky. I know it was a bit of a, people didn't like it when it first came out. I really like the fact that they've got this hamburger button. Quite a few others have got the custom switch. Basically, that's a quick select button. So you go through and you change it from heating, windscreen, traction control, damping settings, ride height settings, etc. So when I press that, it changes what this rocker does here. Currently it's on heating, so if I press up on that, it's my heated grips, down is heated seat. Easy to access. I don't know why people kicked off about that before, if I'm completely honest, but it is what it is. It's obviously got the electric windscreen on this. It's not as good as I'd like it to be, but at the same time it's still very good. The little wings on the side make quite a bit of difference. If you're looking for something that does big miles comfortably, and you often do 2-up or heavy amounts of luggage or anything like that, what a bike. What a bike. It's easy to get your feet down, it's comfortable, it feels premium, it looks quite aggressive, and how would I put it? It looks utilitarian type thing. There's some very nice little features on it. It does this, which is just mental fast. What is going on here then? What is going on here? Breakfast. Merging onto the motorway, do a lifesaver, indicate, check, you're going to overtake. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, you don't need any more power. I'm a GS rider, you do not belong in the same lane as I do. Get out of my lane, I am better than you. Wham. Yeah, gear change. As a long distance mile muncher, unbelievable bike. Like, stupidly comfy. Like, everything feels nice, it feels premium. I can put my feet up there and have the backs of my legs gently caressed by heat of the engine. For fun factor, it rides quick. You can ride it very fast. It gets moderately out of shape when you try and push it. I was saying before that my KTM squirms a bit and stuff like that. There's a difference for me between squirming under hard acceleration and being unbalanced or uncontrollable. My KTM, I can pin the living daylights out of it. The front wheel doesn't come down until 4th gear. It does all of that, it squirms underneath you. It's very like wild ride, kind of bucking bronco type vibe. I appreciate you moving over. I have no idea how wide this bike is though. Thank you very much, thank you sir. But I still feel an element of control. And again, that's probably down to the weight, I guess. this does feel like the 1300 GS felt way more controllable when it was sort of squirming and stuff. Other things I don't particularly like, it's quite a clattery engine, but also there's a bit of a, I don't know what it is, I think Bruce has mentioned this before actually, thinking about it. There's like a transmission whine or something like that when you roll off. You know when someone buys like an old shitbox of a Fabia VRS type thing, but it's got the 1.9 PD 130 lump in it, and it does that. They put like the turbo wastegate on it, and every time they change gear it sounds like an owl. Wah, boo, wah, boo. It's almost like that, but it's obviously nowhere near as loud. But I don't know whether that would annoy me because I would just put a stupidly loud exhaust on one of these. Having said that, doing what I'm currently doing, 78 indicated 78 mile an hour. I mean, it's doing 4,000 RPM. It is so relaxed, and if I need to accelerate, it just does it. What is that? Yeah, mate. If you have a 1250 GSA, I don't know whether it's worth the upgrade. It's nice to have the power. You could probably save yourself 10 grand. Stick a full system on it, go and take it to BHP UK and get them to remap it, and it would add that power and the raspiness that you get from this. Well, so there's not really any raspiness, to be honest. The old GSAs had presence on the road. They had so much road presence. And I think the 1300 kind of lost a bit of that. Whereas I think this has got that kind of road presence back. It's got that kind of absolute tank coming down the road kind of feeling. There's that one. Hear it? I think I prefer this as a bike for the long journeys than the 1300 standard GS. I think it's got more presence, it's got more like about it, it feels more purposeful, it feels more, so I do really like it. It's unbelievably comfortable and it's very, very lovely. It still lacks that kind of, I don't know, the sort of the character. I don't think you buy a bike like this for that side of things. I think you buy a bike like this because you want to go touring 2 up. You don't buy it because you want it to be like that. But yeah, anyway, let me struggle to get this side stand. Oh my god, it feels like I was going to drop it then. I'd be happy to have like that in the garage with a Super Duke type thing, or that in the garage with a Tuono. That kind of is, for me, is a mix between, if a GSA and a Super Duke had a baby, that would be that, in my opinion. Remote key, not in range. I'm like 3 steps away from the bike, shut up. Thank you very, very much for watching. Ollie, I'm sorry this was a bike review, and I know you don't watch bike reviews. You've probably not watched it by now, have you? Let's be honest. I'm going to go get back on that because that's way more fun. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in next week's video. Bye.